Our scripture reading tonight comes from the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verses 1 through 18, and I'll be reading from the Common English Bible. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word was with God in the beginning. Everything came into being through the Word, and without the Word, nothing came into being. What came into being through the Word was life, and the life was the light for all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness doesn't extinguish the light. A man named John was sent from God. He came as a witness to testify concerning the light, so that through him everyone would believe in the light. He himself wasn't the light, but his mission was to testify concerning the light. The true light that shines on all people was coming into the world. The light was in the world, and the world came into being through the light, but the world didn't recognize the light. The light came to his own people, and his own people didn't welcome him. But those who did welcome him, those who believed in his name, he authorized to become God's children, born not from blood, nor from human desire or passion, but born from God. The Word became flesh and made his home among us. We have seen his glory, glory like that of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. John testified about him, crying out, "This is the one of whom I said, 'He who comes after me is greater than me, because he existed before me.' From his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. As the law was given through Moses, so grace and truth came into being through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God. God, the only Son, who is at the Father's side, has made God known." Here ends the reading. Spirit of God, stir up your people. There is just something about babies. Even if you never wanted a child of your own, even if you would happily never ever in your life change a single diaper, especially the smelly ones, even if you think the idea of dealing with perpetually sticky fingers and a perpetually sticky face is absolutely disgusting, there is still just something about babies. It's not just that we're biologically wired to find them appealing and to want to protect them. It's that, I think, we're curious about who they are going to turn out to be. Babies represent new beginnings. They represent new potential. They represent new energy and a new legacy in the family. And knowing all that about babies, it's no wonder that we love Christmas. Because sometimes baby Jesus is our favorite version of Jesus. Now listen, I am not a Ricky Bobby fan. But I don't know anybody that didn't laugh at a dear baby Jesus to start out prayer. That, by the way, has become a cultural reference too. But as we gather tonight, we have to remember, or learn again, that Jesus does not begin his existence at his earthly birth. Jesus is not a last-minute Hail Mary pass trying to save the game because it's not going the way God intended. Scripture makes it clear that Jesus has been with God since the beginning. Now, no one knows exactly the logistics of how it works for Jesus to be begotten by God, to be a piece of the three-in-one triune God that we believe in. No one knows even how being three-in-one person works. It's hard for us to comprehend. Honestly, anyone who claims to be able to explain it to you is probably drifting into some sort of heresy. But just because we don't understand how it works doesn't mean that we can't acknowledge tonight that it's true. That Jesus has been with God and a part of God since the beginning. And the miracle we celebrate tonight is not the arrival of Jesus in history, but the fact that God takes on human flesh in the incarnation. Now, I will say that in the gospel accounts, we learn that even as a baby, there will be some who recognize Jesus' divinity. His mother Mary, his earthly father Joseph, the shepherds, the angels, the wise men from the east, Anna and Simeon, who prophesy over him in the temple, they all see God in this baby. So what John is doing here for us at the beginning of his gospel is connecting the not so immediately obvious pieces for us. He begins his account of Jesus' ministry not with a human family and a sweet baby story, but on the cosmic stage. He invokes the imagery of Genesis 1. If you were to say to John's original audience, in the beginning, their natural response would probably be, God created the heavens and the earth. And John flips it just a little bit. He says, in the beginning was the Word. That means that what John is trying to say is that the Word was there when light and darkness emerged from chaos. The Word was there when sun and moon and stars and nebula and galaxies began to swirl. The Word was there when plants emerged from the ground. The Word was there when animals evolved, when they began swimming, then flying, then crawling, then walking. The Word was there when humanity was created, when earth dust and stardust and the sticky, spitty breath of God come together to form humanity. And John says that not only was the Word there, but it was through the Word that all these things happen. Which again, if we were to go back and pay attention to Genesis 1, we're told that God creates through speaking. We find out at the end of this passage in John that Jesus is the one to whom John is referring. And John names Jesus Word and Light. Word and light that take on flesh in order to make God known to us. Word and light that enter our darkness and make the light of light visible to us. All of this cosmic truth, visible in a baby boy, born and found lying in a manger, swaddled in cloths, attended to by shepherds, all those pieces of the Christmas story that we love so much. These titles of Word and Light, if we talk about them, we might learn something about who Jesus is. That everything that is true about Word and Light is probably true about Jesus. Words have the power to describe. They have the power to name and to evoke. Words have the power to create new possibilities when strung together in just the right way. And words, when used with cruel intentions, can also harm and destroy. When we're being really honest with ourselves, church, we know that Jesus used with wrong intentions, misused Jesus, can harm and destroy as well. But the title Word goes beyond that. Word doesn't just invoke God's creative work and God's creative nature. It is also Logos, the wisdom of God. Both testaments point to wisdom not only as a vital aspect of who God is, of God's very nature, but also something that is accessible to us as humans. But the New Testament offers one caveat to it. Paul, when reflecting on the wisdom of God as embodied by Jesus, reminds those who are reading his mail that the wisdom of God will look like folly to humans. After all, the embodiment of wisdom, Jesus, is never called wealthy, and he certainly doesn't live to an old age, and we don't get reports of his many children and his many possessions. But the embodiment of wisdom also never complains as if he's lacking anything. And a piece of Jesus' appeal to the masses is the wisdom and authority of his teaching, of Jesus' ability to string together words in new ways that teach people truths in a way and help them consider new possibilities for their lives. John also names Jesus Light. Light shines. Light pierces the darkness. Light diffuses out and out from its source and in some ways continues on forever. The earth is still seeing light from stars long ago. Light in its very nature is both a wave and a particle, and frankly, it still mystifies science as to how it works. Light shows up in ways that we can actually physically see, and it shows up in ways that we can experience but cannot necessarily see. It is all around us. Light travels faster than we can imagine or copy. Light can be affected by that around it, like gravity and the medium through which it's passing, but it can also affect the stuff around it. We use light to carry information all over the world. We as humans need light for our health. It causes our bodies to produce vitamin D. We've used light to advance medicine in incredible ways, if you think about it. If you've ever gotten an X-ray or an MRI or a CT, you can thank light for that information that your doctor was able to get. We've used light to perform precise surgeries and kill cancer and help with pain. But again, too much light used in the wrong way, too much light used in the wrong way can be harmful. All of this is true of Jesus. So tonight, as we gather to celebrate a baby being born 2,024 years ago or more, we remember that this isn't just about Jesus, the start of Jesus' story. That we're called here to remember that we celebrate and honor Jesus, who is Word and light, who has been with God and active with God since the beginning. Our invitation to you this season is to experience the fullness of Jesus and who Jesus is. From now until the last Sunday of January, we will be exploring Jesus as the light of life here in this place. We invite you to come and worship here in this place with us or join us online as we continue this good work of celebrating Jesus, who comes as word and light in our lives.